Hi there and welcome to Lorena's Labyrinth. My name's Anna Pirelli. The comments that you see here are my views, beliefs, opinions, and sometimes they are not even my fully formed views, beliefs, and opinions. However, they are my understandings. Please do retain an open mind and reflect on any of the content and your comfort levels. If your views differ, please feel free to leave a comment. Also remember, it is possible to disagree in respectful ways. My way is not necessarily your way and vice versa. You might also find that some of the content on this playlist in regard to spiritual or universal laws, it resonates with you, meaning it feels right to you, while other laws may not feel right or they may not feel comfortable. If this is the case, the information is either not right for you or it is not right for you right now, and it might never be right for you at any given time. It really doesn't matter. As an earthy and practical person, I can put my hand up with all honesty and say that I have at different times had the same feelings about some of the content in here, and with some of them I still have a level of skepticism within my viewpoints, but I choose to retain an open mind about the things that I don't fully understand for a few reasons. Firstly, because I believe it would be supreme arrogance to think that we all know all of the answers while we have a body. And because what is right for one of us is not necessarily right or suitable for all of us, and I choose to respect the differences. Please do leave your opinions, beliefs. Feel free to argue the points in a respectful way with any of the content on the slides and even my interpretations. And if you feel that you can add clarity around some of the content, we would all love to see it. Thank you. For now, though, let's explore the laws.
All creation is governed by law. The principles that operate in the outer universe, discoverable by scientists, are called natural laws. But there are subtler laws that rule the hidden spiritual planes and the inner realm of consciousness. Contained within these laws, or conditions, is the true nature of matter. Knowledge of these laws has an effect upon the mental urges. Mind is the builder. Stay in full mindfulness of the application of universal law as related to self and to others, and know that in love all life is given, in love all things move. In giving one attains, in giving one acquires, in giving, love becomes the fulfillment of desire, guided and directed in the ways that bring the more perfect knowledge of self as related to the universal, all-powerful, all-guiding, all-divine influence in life. Love is life. When we go back, merge with the God source, in some infinitesimal but profound way, we expand the mind of God. Our higher self always points the best and most perfect way, and it is ours to listen and choose or reject what we hear. It does not blame, but patiently tries again to show the perfect way, the loving way. All of creation pushes forth. We are ever becoming. Identity ever remains. Universal law number 10, the law of cohesion. The law of cohesion is one of the 7 laws of our solar system, under the 3 major laws. Cohesion is first apparent on the second plane. It is the first molecular plane of the system, and is the home of the monad. Divine coherency is demonstrated.
So today we're talking about law number 10, which is the law of cohesion, of course, as you're aware. And the last slide that we looked at, or the last video, is law number 9, which talks about chemical affinity and immetalization, which to some extent you may as well say is the breakdown or devolution of the monad. We also discussed very clearly in video 9 what a monad is, if you haven't seen it yet. Okay, so the way I interpret this is that first of all we've got to put context around what is the monad that we're talking about with this law. Are we talking about the monad on a cosmic or universal level, or are we talking about the individual monad, which is you, which is me, and which is every other person that you meet on the street? I believe within this context of this law that we're talking about the individual monad. And because we're talking about cohesion, cohesion as a word to define it means the coming together of particles of the same substance. So within this context, you, me, and everybody else, it's about the building and construction of our aura, if you like. It's from that initial spark and that magnetic drawing of like to build the mass light body that then becomes born as the physical body. And if you recall from looking at images in the previous video, the outer layers of the monad are the ones that are the lightest, being they weigh the less, as if I can speak right now. Okay, they weigh the least, and they also are moving at the fastest rate, and more light comes through this matter, if you like, because obviously it's all energy, so it's got greater capacity on the externals of the monad. If we're looking at this image here, we're looking at most of the high level movement and the lightness on the outside, and then on the outside of the circle, and then it becomes more and more cohesive and more denser towards the center where you see the black dot. So within the context of the human aura, I see the cohesion. If we were to try and apply some kind of logical rationale to this, when it talks about cohesion occurring on the second plane, you may as well say my jury is sitting out on whether or not, when they refer to the second plane, as to whether or not it's that white ring or the one that's lavender coloured, because they are the lightest parts of any human aura. And of course the monad is the whole entire of all those auric layers. So if we were sitting in a circle, an egg or whatever, the monad is everything that's inside of it. So when we talk about the cohesion starts to happen on the second plane, I think it's probably the lavender plane. I think the white plane is where it's all, you can't see my cursor moving around this circle, but I think, yes, that disintegration, I think, happens on the white plane, and then the coming together on what we see here is the purple plane. So today's one of those days when I actually end up redoing slide after slide, and I've left it a little late, and my capacity to actually articulate is a bit impacted on the negative side, so I apologise for that in advance. What I will say is that with any of this kind of information, I don't consider myself an expert, because number one, I just don't really think that it's got a lot of relevance or importance to me. If I was to put into perspective, it's like, all I need to know is how to make a bike work or how to drive my car. I know that it needs certain things, certain actions that I've got to do to make it work, but I'm not really that hung up on knowing the whole mechanical and the physics side of it. So when it comes to the planes, what I can tell you is that I understand that we as humans, at least in the beginning, we tend to think in a linear way, which is like the image on the right hand side, which is actually one of the things that I've contrived to try and look like, or to give people an idea of what an angel's aura looks like, and perhaps even to make it more understandable for them to accept that, yes, angels do exist. Their auras are different, they've got a different purpose, whatever. But going back to this image here, we tend to think lineal. Now, with this diagram on the right, even though it's got the wings on it, just imagine it doesn't. But all these little dots here, they are actually, if you were to count them, okay, this image actually represents 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate dimensions, and each dot represents the color of the chakras, because there is a belief that as a person's vibration increases, and these planes, so it's kind of interactive. The planes, the astral planes, which is not the right word because you've got more than one. So on the we walk the earth plane, so we're on the third dimension, which is the heaviest and the lowest vibration. So if you try and do the comparison there, you will see that the chakras have a certain colour, but when it goes into the next second sphere of that greyish, bluish type image, you see that those dots change. Well, somebody here is presenting, whoever has created this idea, and of course I've copied ideas here to try and demonstrate and give visuals. What they're trying to do is show us that the chakras change colour as the aura and the vibration levels up to the second, third, fourth dimension. So I think that we might say here that dimensions are interactive. Is that the right word? Whether it's interactive, same word, interchangeable words for planes, okay? So basically, if you're on the third dimension, you've got the physical body. Then when you go up to the next dimension, that's considered to be one fourth dimension, but that's also the place where we can connect with spirit and energy of beings on the other side, if you like, or do telepathic communication, that kind of thing. Then you've got the fourth dimension, which takes you even further and higher, and hazarding a guess, I would, because I haven't thought about it for a while and I'm not open up to channel, I think the fourth dimension is where we communicate with our guides, and the fifth dimension, if I recall correctly, is the energetic vibration or the plane, right, of where the celestial beings reside, okay, which is probably why it's not in the actual egg shape, okay. That's probably why it's sitting out there, to show that it's of the fifth dimension. So the point that I was making, I think I made it before, or I may have actually removed the slide, is when we're communicating with spirit, we have to raise our vibration up, we have to shift up energetically to be able to communicate with the higher beings. Now, generally speaking, what happens is that the high vibrational beings, or beings of light is another word that we call them, they lower their vibration so that we can actually communicate, and there's 101 reasons for that. I'm not even going to go into it. So when we talk about the planes, they're kind of like the dimensions, kind of like the layers of the aura, because obviously each layer of the aura, you see this person in here, it's kind of like that, but it's not necessarily lineal as we see here, okay. And I can't say with any firm conviction that it is X or Y, because I'm just not a scientist. They're not questions I think to ask. And besides which, I think there's too much contention around what it actually looks like. So this is one of those things where you really would be, if this stuff interests you, then go and meditate on it. Go and get your own understandings and your own knowledge about it, what you feel to be true. But I would also say, put in that disclaimer there, keep an open mind, because this is also one of these things where if you become fixed on it, then you may actually end up not having a correct information about it. And the other thing is too, if you go back to all of the other videos I put out, everything is in a constant state of change and evolution and that kind of thing, and this includes energy, and from my understandings also the dimensions. And I've had one person say to me, and I tend to find it quite believable, it would be very limiting of us as humans to turn around and say that there's only 7 dimensions or whatever. This person said to me, in their knowledge or understanding, there was a whole multitude of them. I don't know. I would say that I probably think that people that are air signs would be more interested in really getting a full grip on this kind of content, but not me. Anyway, I'm just going to move on now. So basically, I'm just going to try and recap a little bit here. When we talk about divine coherency, if we unpack the words anyway, we're reading that in the English language. So what does coherency mean in English? It means to have logical, orderly, and consistent relation of parts, right? So if we're talking divine, then that means that there is a divine order to everything that happens in our lives. From my perspective, I would interpret potentially this on, and I've got a theory I'm going to put to you in a minute, that I would define the law of cohesion as referring to the outermost layer of the aura, say the lavender, as being the space and place of the oneness and that connection to divinity. However, I do recall when I was at university that there was a comment made that if we cannot actually convey our truth and wisdom, or the knowledge that we've picked up through our studies at university, writing our papers and that, then we just haven't done enough research, right? And it's once we've done enough research into a topic that we can actually articulate and express. So within this context, I definitely have not done my research. I have not looked into it enough, but my heart knows. It's kind of like I might not be able to express it. This is what we call resonance, and this is personal truth. It's like when I read these words, at some level within me, this resonates and it feels true. I might not understand it, but at some level it makes sense to me and I'm comfortable with it. I do believe that the observations that I make is that there is a divine order. There is a logic and rationale attached to this whole metaphysical stuff. And the other thing that I sort of feel is that anything that is restrictive or is a limitation, that's not divine. My understanding is that divine, all things are possible. And definitely we are all interconnected. Anyway, so as a summary, I interpret the law of being cohesion or the law of cohesion about the building of the body. And remember, life is cyclical. Now we have slides and videos coming up about that. So this is this ongoing process of construct, destruct, which is the metallization, construct, destruct. And I'll talk about that kind of stuff in the video on cycles because I think you'll find that one interesting. Until then, my friends, I'm going to say goodnight and goodbye because it's actually very late at night. I made a mistake today and I left this one until the last minute. I didn't realise. I thought I'd already loaded it. And so what's happened is very late at night I've been battling technology, the bane of my existence right now, I might add, while trying to convey this information to you in ways and at a time of night when my tongue is tied. So I do apologise. This is not the best one you could ever have, but I tried. All right, I tried. I'll try and do better next time. All right, take care. Have a lovely day, night, wherever you are. Bye-bye.